Now, in a moment, I'm going to show a very disturbing and unfortunate situation. So if you are not in the frame of mind just yet to watch this, I suggest you keep scrolling.
2 hours before the standoff, he'd been desperately seeking help for the mental health crisis he knew he was in. The response from a specialist helpline labelled blunt and dismissive.
Every time I think of self-harm, I got told to call you guys.
Every time you think of self-harm? Is that the only strategy you've got for self-harm?
Well, I mean, like, yeah.
Kobe, quiet and polite, as he explains he's bleeding.
I'm just asking, like, how do I stop from trying to cut myself more?
I don't know. You just have to stop.
Throughout the 9-minute call, several times he asked the nurse for support.
You can't just give me some like, advice over the phone or anything?
Like what? I haven't got any special magical advice.
He eventually calls police. It's only minutes later, but his demeanour's changed entirely.
I got a firearm and I'm about to start firing on alright?
What you just heard was a segment of a 9-minute call where Kobe, who comes across as quiet and polite, calls the crisis helpline for support, and his demeanour only changes when the help that he was seeking wasn't available. He eventually calls police, but it was too late. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics of this case as it is part of an inquest and an investigation. The deputy coroner will be asking whether this entire catastrophic incident could have been avoided. In this episode, I want to talk about workplace fatigue, mental exhaustion, and compassion fatigue. Now, after long exposures to working in a crisis centre or prolonged contact with angry and negative customers for that matter, it is possible to experience mental exhaustion. Crisis centres often involve dealing with high-stress situations and providing support to individuals in distress. This type of work can be emotionally demanding and mentally draining, and constant exposure to intense situations, listening to traumatic experiences, and the pressures of making critical decisions can contribute to mental exhaustion. It is important for individuals working in such environments to practice self-care, seek support, and take breaks to prevent and manage mental exhaustion. Now, while empathy is a natural human capacity, it is possible for even the most empathetic individuals to experience a decrease in their empathic abilities under certain circumstances. Empathy requires emotional energy and can be influenced by various factors such as chronic stress, burnout, trauma, or personal experiences. Now, constant exposure to others' pain and suffering, particularly in professions like healthcare, social work, or crisis interventions, can lead to compassion fatigue or empathy exhaustion. Now, keep in mind also that it's not only in these professions. It also extends to local government employees, law enforcement, aged care workers, and teachers. This can result in a reduced ability to empathise or feel emotionally connected to others temporarily. We know with proper self-care, support, and taking time to recharge, all of us can often regain our empathetic capacity. It's important to prioritise self-care and seek help also if empathy levels are consistently diminished. Compassion fatigue refers to a state of emotional and physical exhaustion that can occur when individuals regularly provide care or support to others who are experiencing trauma or suffering. It often affects professions in caregiving roles such as nurses, doctors, therapists, social workers, and emergency responders. The constant exposure to others' pain and distress can gradually wear down a person's emotional resilience and lead to a reduced capacity for empathy and compassion. Symptoms of compassion fatigue can include feelings of exhaustion, irritability, decreased empathy, detachment, difficulty concentrating, sleep disturbances, and physical ailments. Individuals experiencing compassion fatigue can also find themselves emotionally overwhelmed, questioning their purpose or feeling a sense of hopelessness. To prevent and address compassion fatigue, self-care is going to be crucial, and this may involve setting boundaries, practicing stress management techniques, seeking support from colleagues or support groups, taking regular breaks, engaging in activities that bring joy and seeking professional help if needed, and recognising the signs of being proactive in managing compassion fatigue can also help individuals continue to provide care while prioritising their own well-being. So in my summation, to answer the question whether this entire catastrophic incident could have been avoided, it's a yes from me.
Before I hear your thoughts on the matter, here's what some had to say. To listen to a young person genuinely reaching out for help is heartbreaking enough. In this circumstance, where a helpline employee is actively being callous and dismissive, must verge on illegal behaviour. What are the employment and training requirements for helpline employees? And this? It is also because he's a man. Men delete themselves far more than women, but society ignores this reality. Women get far more compassion around self-harm. There's not enough men in psychology. Men talk to men very differently compared to women. There's many unspoken understandings. And finally, this. For the love of God and everyone who needs help, please get that woman away from the phones. Put her in a role that doesn't involve speaking with anyone who needs any form of help or assistance. My God, how utterly devastating.
I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know.